by Fulani herdsmen, being ravaged by warriors. It is patriotism that is going to speak to your mind of mind, that it is a time that we need to rise. It is a time that we need to start fighting for the common good of the land. It is a patriotism that must drive you. And this patriotism must anchored on selflessness. But Eremasu no wedo na Obaseki wa be etun e followers of na afi pege gwa. Wow. Abi I raising be head next 50 years. Now we are mere itan we iparagbon ire kwe na Obaseki afi pege ewaye. Tribulations in the kingdom must always be there. The problems of Orame faced was it was his own type of problem. Eweka had his own. Do you want me to delve into the travails of Obaiweka II? Why have Viemania? How he suffered? It even heavy Guancan, but yeah, Guancan. I told people that people have not realized what Godwin Obaseki has done for us. Benin was already a very weak place, or we were already a very weak people. But a lot of people did not know we are that weak. What Obaseki did was to expose us to the world to see how weak we are. How did I know that we are weak? 4 years that it became obvious. No single Benin man. I continue to see it. I see it everywhere. Resigned from his government. It's a shame. So in other words, the implication is this, is that Obaseki wa mobo owa me bawa revena owa gbubi o igbera era no wa bio. No wa bi well, no wa re kia bi well. Or you be zanzawa o. Then ohan is igbefo na ohan pa o we ri go nu e. Onu we ade pure water gen ni enwon. We tin e lo ya gbera was very exhausting. This old man said something that I will never forget. I've said these things repeatedly. Owizodowa. Anyway now. Izodowa. Okay. Oh well. Magbina man, can marry your kemase. Oh but we knew only time we were then. We be do. I'm going to say this till I die. That's what this man. Yeah. Oh, bon man, I have. I say wine. Be do. Form. Kakabo or not. But all I know is that I would prefer 1 trillion Lucky Benedion than 1 Obaseki. Ama poke. We heard that some traditional rulers from a donor during Lucky Benedion's time wanted to poke Osadebe Avenue and Adwi Kogawe traditional rulers. So some traditional rulers from a donut now. They were nursing the ambition of a rotational chairmanship. He was mad. And he told him that from today henceforth, why are doing matani because you are doing it in Osadebe, that's why you're having a second opinion. So why I do a work we had to tie, we had to with that ambition. That's why that traditional council meeting was moved from the government house to the palace. Then why should I not be happy about that person? If that suggestion came during Godwin Obaseki, oh, nice one, nice one. Nice one. I was like, all those get be one fine pavilion, all those be one good structure was at the Bay Avenue. All we need to do it. All we need to do it. Now you have to pay gwa. So what I pay a monkey face? Ni aro vere ya beginya. They didn't know that I'm a Benin agenda. They didn't know that I'm a do agenda. Now suddenly, because he am married right now for just 6 months, they are already claiming Benin agenda. Anywhere you see them, most especially in a politician world, why Benin are winner? They say Benin agenda. Let them leave Benin agenda for those who love Benin, not for themselves. Selfish, disgusting idiots. Very disgusting. That's why we are buying him. He's maternally and Akenzo Abia worker. Someone screenshotted how he opened a group. Naya Afuk. Funny enough, he even opened a deep Facebook. A picture of Barewa. You see how demonic these people are. Then automatically now they want to not love the palace. And tomorrow, these people will not come to me. Or anybody will not say I should go and work with those people. I'd rather die. Tomorrow, this man here, Pastor Yunosa, will come out tomorrow and say Oba talk by you. And some of you will forgive him. If you do, me will not forgive you. When we say some of us have deep-rooted hatred for some of the things Obaseki did, not because we hate him, because we saw what he did. Imagine setting up a water group, funding it, all throughout his tenure, almost about the second to the third year, no the governor. And I contacted Monkey Face and put Monkey Face on salary. When Monkey Face came to Benin Kingdom, he came under the protection of government escort. When we were able to get his phone number, we tracked for some of his number. One of the person he was calling the most was Pastor Oyinesun. Then you not tell me why I hate Obaseki. If you could fund, if you could stoop yourself so low to fund people, now if you then what else can't you do? Why shouldn't I be angry? And the tools and the people that he used, some of you are going to romance them. That is unlike us as a Benin people. In a war. Please.
Thanks for clicking on this channel. Please subscribe to FO's blog history and click on the notification button so that whenever we upload a new video you will be notified.
Let's not keep to that small space of let us not be short-sighted. Let's not trivialize the gravity of us fighting for the Benin cause. Today, we have majority of the Benin people who go and can later. But patriotism is an essential virtue that every single Benin man must incorporate. Patriotism is what is going to make you stand out. Patriotism is going to make you understand. It's going to make you understand that your community is being ravaged by Fulani herdsmen, it's being ravaged by warrior. It is patriotism that is going to speak to your mind of mind, that it is a time that we need to rise. It is a time that we need to start fighting for the common good of the land. It is a patriotism that must drive you. And this patriotism must anchored on selflessness. This patriotism must anchored on selflessness. You must not fight for yourself. You must fight for the land. It is patriotism that must guide all of us to attain this very foundational thing. Where do go where do not your. And a patriotic person wouldn't do that. Omanoma gengen do. Atiena or patriotic omanoma gengen do. And I see one. The entire concept of Oya, I see me a woman, is patriotism. That song, Waya Suni, is a song of patriotism. That I do ye kehia. Where is patriotism, because it is what drives us to take rightful decision that makes us to fight for the land. That rightful decision must not be anchored on selfishness. The moment they are able to attain a particular position, because at the time when you wanted to come out to start fighting for this land, you had already positioned your mind in Evaenoro and Evaenu Magimio. Evaenoro, Evie Donibun, Moboa, Magi Mobo Gualo, Egbinanoro. So I appeal to your consciousness. Every day I continue to appeal. Bagamuiwo Yodao. Bagamuiwo Kodao. There's so many problems that is affecting us as a people. Chiefly is self-centeredness. Chiefly, I'll continue to say it. We no longer have this patriotic mindset. This patriotic mindset that a dori ahia ya doloi ya goba doledui. So some who will also have this mindset. Again, I are a fizzle out. That is not how it's supposed to be. We have to stand our ground, understand. I tell people that I want to be remembered for two things. When am I so now? Am I so new woman? I will rema, I will timaso, I will kwima, I will some one day and all of that. Why do me my so? Me na agmoyari kona, me na agwana. I had 10 more. awo biani okpare wa vedene na mata no reme na awa ho. He has lived a life of truthfulness, and that is his legacy. E wana wa be me ma no wa be wu vedene na wo hu dani. He has also lived his life, and that is his legacy. But growing up, I have always understood that a man's legacy, a man's life is a reflection of his legacies. So I want to be known as that person that omintani na mobota bayazitani ipa iragmo bamu vorame. Bagume na nafo bayazo anyone. Age mu vorame. In modern day parlance, age vorame na You people are partially correct. But Eremasu no wedo na Obaseki wa be etun e followers of na afi pege gwa. Wow. Abi I raising be head next 50 years. Now we are mere itan we iparagbon ire kwe na Obaseki afi pege ewaye. Tribulations in the kingdom must always be there. The problems of Orame faced was it was his own type of problem. Aweka had his own. Do you want me to delve into the travails of Obaiweka II? Why have Mania? How he suffered. Obaiweka was 23 times. That don't my yegbe when I deposit area where you people have not read the story. Or do you want me to tell you the travails of Obakenzwa II? When Oyari Oyae. Imama Aragbon wegenaya mo bari dawari kota. Egeni manibu egie. Wana we advancing it. The man I get. It's over my being. But we are on honey wegani 10 years ago. We were soon wegame. Ama mobile by why you cut. So, but the difference between Obairedawa's time and Obaiwa's time is this. There was a strong solidarity for Obairedawa and Obaiwa. That's because I compared to now. Every problems in the kingdom start when we now start believing that Oma Kaima. That's when the problem starts. I told people that but I told people that people have not realized what Godwin Obaseki has done for us. Benin was already a very weak place, or we were already a very weak people. But a lot of people did not know we are that weak. What Obaseki did was to expose us to the world to see how weak we are. My weak. When you say a people is weak, a people who is now using a principle of when I'm area live. When I'm 21st century, you Facebook, TikTok. But area do no ye. That's what I've explained in the beginning. Now, in Miami I want here. We are weak as a race, as an ethnic group. But a lot of people didn't know that we are weak. You understand? In area who donate. You might just understand. But Obaseki just came and just said, if you not take going out, you bug these are weak people. How did I know that we are weak? 4 years that it became obvious. Home. Inherently, do home. No single Benin man. I continue to see it. I see it everywhere. Resigned from his government. It's a shame. So in other words, the implication is this, is that Obaseki wa mobile owa me bawa revena. Owa gbubi o igbera era no wa bio. No wa bio well, no wa rekia bio well. Or you be zanzawa zanzao. Then ohan is igbefo na ohan pa. O we ri go nu. Onu we ade pure water gen ni enwo. Where tinye lo ya gbera was very exhausting. No, Abi, obedi you go no. When so that when body this. Obedi you go where I had the amen. No money when my energy was very exhausting. Yeah, me energy with it. I don't know whether you understand. And we're not war. That's why I said Benins are weak. Why would you go back? Boy, I had the pure no more. That's exactly what happened. He dealt with us, exposed us to the world, and we all clap for him. That you have done an incredible job. The problems are not Beladia. When everybody now bears his royal majesty in Edo State, are you aware? Can you change that? No, you can't. When that matter happened, I said you can't. But before now, nobody dared. But he made everybody feel that nothing did there. That's what he did. But because our people are so dumb, not all. Because no Jesuit there, no Guazebo, they're carried away by the frivolities of English. Ebonaze. I respect when I have pamashaje. I respect when I have happiness than me. Than I respect myself. Why? Because as a Benin man, the first thing that I'm supposed to know how to do best, or a donaze. And I doesn't understand. How fluent I am in my language is supposed to be what I should be proud of, firstly, than how better I speak another person's language. But now, we take so much pleasure on Manoze Bose. That's my own deficiency. You think I don't see it? I say money. So, we have been exposed. I say this. Thank God the parent. The padding you. Okay, yeah, domo. Again, a matter Frank. Who hear who legu yasuno. My work back on Hiani. Imi ya zaga ina do tipa we sat down. Mana think via where area guaya go wa area go wa only na ton wa where na pa. Now I remember if you're doing although we are quite young, we are expecting the elders to lead. But the elders are saying that hey, you're not kind of makanya. I don't know whether you understand. So makanya. So we will not have to lead. We will not have to say that you cannot use us to lead. I got commissioner, I got position in our guana. One on the yagbin and here. I eat you one way to mewa. Why should they use your head? That's one kind of politicians. Am I panado zi okay? Wow, okay. Jami yase. Am I abu yase? And me yase. Mawase wa. That was the first time I was meeting the Sogma, the latest Sogma. 50 you were deputy. In your man, ni mu emirokpa as matter be. Or if you're not there, I can't say it here in public. But I think it's away. Yes or not. Oh, but one thing he told me, Manado explaining me, yeah, you take a bully in there, Manado where you are there. Now it's so bad talk about. You understand? Again, my so that I say my total address yes. So who was what? Yes, I will go one total. Come, stand there. Sorry, sir. Manado explaining me. After I saw the reason we were able to convince him. Almost right immediately we were I call it Godwin to order. Almost right that move in my way per make Vederia. And I call it Godwin to order because it can Godwin teari. Cannot teari. Eroje na one only la my be all this why. Well, why I left your fee? Am I also when you get try near like be or like be? You understand? Am I so that are not that does not understand what is going on? Yana ya wo vasabi ya wo eni ya wo negwamakwe gi and all of that. It only ties it. What do you have to define a trap? Finally, some people will go down. Exactly. He was very happy. But when we wanted to leave, the Sogman said something that I will never forget. I've said these things repeatedly. Anyway now. Okay. Oh well. Magbina man, can Magidi or Kemase. Oh, but we knew only time we were there now. We do. I'm going to say this till I die. That's what is Sogman. Yeah. Oh, bon my and I have very say wine. Do. That is, people can no longer challenge institution for doing what is wrong. Have a governor tiny. Oh, man, Hana was school. A tutor graduate classic literature what University of Ibadan. We have first class professors of medicine, law, everywhere that abounds as a people. Then one person who probably had a tutu. Or see area where Baje Wosa grammar school, or a pie professor, a big one, Madasu. Or when we're having scholarship to go and study medicine. He might get a scholarship in order to dog. All right, I studied classic art. What mine at a classic? Shakespearean art, literature. Now he's not coming and telling us that we are all in school. Now looking at us, he was seeing himself as a god. The way he was looking at us, guy, I don't know why popular with TikTok. Very primitive Shaba. When I Shaba. That people were still living in probably 12th century. That's why he was looking at us. That's why he never listened to any advices that came from us. Then we couldn't challenge him. That's my greatest pain. When I look at people, I'm not with me one over time. I tell you, no, that's not how you behave here. Nobody was able to challenge him. My greatest pain against him is that he would have been a bridge. He had all the exposure as a person. You can't take that away from him. That it could have been a bridge of unity. When I do a mentorship class now. Don't man. I will the phone. Baba ma we mentorship class. Oh, why? When I had 2 years domo. Or we do Gwimagwa. When I had 2 years domo. People says that we deliberately hate him. How? He call a run and at new show dividend na. Bonia. Oh, we are doing him. Avivedo, where we making an ask you beg Ubemudia. But this not Benin people. So that if you beg a Lucky Benedians because he didn't perform well now. Lucky Benedian not the master. Abi? My mama boy no sunu de Tony perform kaka wana even demo or de Tony perform kakabo or not. But all I know is that I would prefer 1 trillion Lucky Benedian than 1 Obaseki. Ama poke. We heard that some traditional rulers from a donor during Lucky Benedian's time wanted to poke Osadebe Avenue and traditional rulers. So some traditional rulers from a donut now. They were nursing the ambition of a rotational chairmanship. Lucky Benedian Dogama. He was mad. And he told him that from today henceforth, why I do matani because you are doing it in Osadebe, that's why you're having a second opinion. So why I do a work we had to tie, we had to wait that ambition. That's why that traditional council meeting was moved from the government house to the palace. then why should I not be happy about that person? If that suggestion came during Godwin Obaseki, oh, nice one, nice one. Nice one. I was like, all those get be one fine pavilion, or be one good structure was at the Bay Avenue. Or any other do ever. Or any other do ever. How can you have that destructive when you're supposed to unite us and bring us together and make us all happy as one family? You are rather wanted to scatter us. That's what I hold against him. He was in the best position to unite us. And now. Obi on me live anenia. Oh, you will see. If you are do so raw running, you give you social media, you do agenda. What damn those ni what the only people that can run with a agenda, Benin agenda, you know, is coming from the place of good interest. All right, mana. If I tell you Benin agenda, I'm telling you Benin agenda because I want Benin to be strong. I want Benin to be self-sufficient. I want Benin to be independent enough to be able to protect their territorial integrity. But these people are saying Benin Edo agenda. Yare message or 6 months ago, 1 year ago. So create a group. Na ya fi pege gwa. So wa pay ave monkey face. Ni aro vere ya be. They didn't know that I'm a Benin agenda. They didn't know that I'm a Edo agenda. Now suddenly, because he married right now for just 6 months, they are already claiming Benin agenda. Anyway, you see them, most especially in a politician war, why when they are a winner, they say Benin agenda. Let them leave Benin agenda for those who love Benin, not for themselves. Selfish, disgusting idiots. Very disgusting. That's what we are buying him. He's maternally and Akenzo Abia worker. Someone screenshotted how he opened a group. Naya Afuk Begiagwa. Funny enough, he even opened a deep Facebook. A picture of Barewa. You see how demonic these people are. Then automatically now they want to not love the palace. And tomorrow, these people will not come to me. Or anybody will not say I should go and work with those people. I'd rather die. The right problem of women ye. If your hands are not clean, I can't work with you. I saw some young ladies. I saw a young lady who just crossed from PDP to APC. I don't know her name. I've been monitoring her. The girl, directly and indirectly, already man at Ring Road. A small girl, not mine, and I bong him. When my screenshot a WhatsApp group again. The man at Ring Road. This is what Benins have turned to. And I was even surprised when one day went Megwa. I don't go to people's whatever and comment. You comment. But now, but do you use a mistake? Do you commit a post, man? Ido more ogun ya no hero tedo ya mugboe. I don't allow that. I was even there at a point in time when someone no I posted that Ovi CMA oyenhi. Let me make you understand. Some people doesn't really understand Benin history. This CMAO, they are on how their descendants have not become. So I don't want any of your children to become what this set of Benin people have become. That's why I believe that this mentorship class is where I can talk to Benin people to understand that sometimes we take decisions that in perpetuity will continue to affect us forever. But because they have a smartphone and they have data, they can post. In ITB, they don't know what is going on. In Naya Boedoe. In Naya Boedoe, in Naya no lele mi emi dan ya ne Yahoo. In the bon. But coincidentally, what pains me most in all of this, some of them now are now crossing to APC. Tomorrow, they will start shouting, these same people, they will start shouting about Tokbe, and some of you will be happy with them. Many may ye, I want no nisa mia, no hoy, mia. Everybody, but who? Not because of genuine reasons. If you are fighting the palace for genuine reasons, for genuine reasons, not for your selfish reasons, not because of the 20,000, the 50,000 that one politician who pushed you to publicly come out and say what you said and did what you pushed you out. Then you to be do he or she absorbed themselves of the veracity of the crime that has been committed. But where? Because of 20, 30,000 or 50,000 or let's say 500,000. When I do you who were do ya be no. Tomorrow, this man here, Pastor, you know, sir, will come out tomorrow and say about talk by, and some of you will forgive him. If you do, me will not forgive you. When we say some of us have deep-rooted hatred for some of the things Obaseki did, not because we hate him, because we saw what he did. Imagine setting up a WhatsApp group, funding it, all throughout his tenure, almost about the second to the third year, no the governor. And I contacted Monkey Face and put Monkey Face on salary. When Monkey Face came to Benin Kingdom, he came under the protection of government escort. When we were able to get his phone number, we tracked for some of his number. One of the person he was calling the most was Pastor Oyinesun. Then you not tell me why I hate Obaseki. If you could fund, if you could stoop yourself so low to fund people, now if you then what else can't you do? Why shouldn't I be angry? And the tools and the people that he used, some of you are going to romance them. That is unlike us as a Benin people. In our in a do wa. Please. I'll quickly run through some other things. Loyalty. This is the fourth element. I've talked about truth, I've talked about integrity, I've talked about patriotism. I want to talk about loyalty. I told myself that there are 4 things I will forever be loyal to. These 4 things, they are guided by my principle. What I want to explain is that each of these 4 institutions, I must test it with my principle. If my principle do not agree with it, I withdraw. The first, Otedo. My first loyalty, which should be our first loyalty, is the land. The land represents the people. That is our first loyalty. Imi nana igawe oga sonedua. Igawe imi nana awawo tonwa. Ewe runda awo tono. We must be loyal to the land. We must be loyal to the people, to ourselves. That's the first. The second loyalty every Benin man must understand is the throne. Is the throne. Now, often at times when I speak, I tell people that Obaiwai the second is different from the Oba of Benin. Oba of Benin is the throne. Then Obaiwai the second is the current occupant of the throne. 2 different things. I tell Benin people that if you understand these 2 factors, these are the factors that guide us when I'm relating. That's why there is nothing, there is no test that I will be subjected to in the palace that will make me angry with the palace. Because don't forget, in my hierarchical classification of loyalty, I'm not just going randomly. Analyze it now. The first one is land. The second one is throne. The third one is the current Oba. And the fourth one is the heir apparent. These are 4 institutions that I am loyal to. The land first, the throne second, the monarch. The throne is the monarchy. The monarch is the third, while the heir apparent is the fourth. And I will explain the difference between the monarch and the monarchy. The throne is the current 40th Oba of Benin. Obaolua. Vedo aha titan una wa mano wese kakabo ado tam una iwese gbene ado we ene no wato wese be na olua. Obaolua is the bastion of measurement na yama mano wese sevagbon. It's just like Obaiwai the first. I am a greatness of every Oba. I am a kindness of every Oba, of every living thing. I mean, my decision is months later, when I was reading about the story, I remember Obaolua was a very kind-hearted. Because he was too kind-hearted, the Benin people hated him. What was it? So in other words, no matter what an Oba does, there must still be a set of people. I don't know whether you understand. But should you fall within the bracket of those people? That's what I'm asking for all of us. Use the eye of the throne. Do you understand? Una wo ban oro na o we no ma yewe. Ya we kete. Ya the Oba Benin cannot be wrong. But just in case, in your minds of minds, in your closet, not in public, just in case, you think one or two policies that are being drafted, that is being done, that is what is going on currently, is not too appealing to you. Or man, or yeah, you can't really explain it. That was what I was appealing to Godwin Obaseki. That don't in some of my live videos, I said it. Don't no buy why away. No ya buried their way. No ya kenzwari. No ya we carry. No your vora me. Any mabi we me rockba. It's just like if I don't like Godwin, for example. So they should destroy those state governments. That those state government should not exist again in those states. Or government institutions should not exist again. So, if as a city governor you did not like the current occupant, does that mean you should destroy the throne? So, there's a difference between the throne and the occupant. The Benins must always learn to understand that they are two separate entities, but that cannot be separated. One cannot function without the other. The Trinity, the biblical Trinity, God the Father, God the Son, and God the Spirit, appearing in different forms. They have a tie that even matter occurs in different states, and that the solid state, the liquid state, or the gaseous state. School, it's still the same way that these things operate on. The Oba of Benin exists in two forms: as the institution itself and as the commander of the institution itself. So the throne, the monarchy, and the monarch is inseparable, but there are two institutions fused as one. So don't man like or not like it. When you have this mindset that I have developed for years, nothing can ever. Okay. So these two must operate together. If you understand this principle that I've outlined, you will understand that this, you cannot separate it from this. But if you understand the principle, you can never want to fight that institution. That is why, irrespective of what they even mean, I'll talk about it in few moments. Even what the institution has thrown to me. Yeah, I said it and I'll say it again. They are banishing me. The only thing I will appeal for, not one more thing, man. I don't know whether you people understand. Not Not because I cannot say no. Don't get me wrong. Not because I cannot say, let's go to court. But because that is how I was raised. That the palace has the final say in the life of every Edo man and woman. And I must respect that. It is not a primordial thought. It is our cultural identity that the words of the Oba is final. Whether you think is wrong, one honey is final. And I game Oba say. So please,